Good morning. Today we're going to talk about finding the volume of a cylinder. This is what we're going to be looking at. So, first of all, cylinders are three-dimensional figures with two circular bases. The distance between the bases is called the height. So, right here I have a circular base. The diameter goes all the way across through the center of the circle. The height is the distance between those two circles. Even if my cylinder is lying on its side, the diameter is still the distance across the base of the circle through the center of the circle, and the height is the distance between the circles at a right angle. So when we're talking about geometry, height is always the distance between the bases, and it's perpendicular, which means a 90-degree angle to the base. In class, we visualized how a cylinder is built from a circle by using a stack of cookies, if you recall. So, in order to find the volume of the cylinder, you need to know the area of the circle. We visualized this by looking at how much cookie there was in one cookie. And then, as we stacked the cookies, we created a cylinder of cookies. And then we looked at how much cookie there was total in the whole stack. So, we took the area of the one cookie and multiplied it by the number of cookies in the stack. That's how we visualized it. So how do we find the volume of a cylinder? Well, we know the area of a circle, any circle, is pi r squared. We remember that from 7th grade. Pi being a constant value, a constant irrational value that's somewhere a little bit more than 3. We tend to use 3.14 to estimate the value of pi, but remember that is an irrational number, which means it goes on and on and on forever and ever and ever without stopping and without repeating in a pattern. So once I find the area of the circle, I multiply it by the distance between the two bases, or the height, to find the volume of the whole cylinder. Let's look at a few practice problems. So in this cylinder, I'm just going to make a generic 10 units right here on the side as our height, and I'm going to give it a diameter all the way across of, well, let's see, if that's 10, this must be approximately 8 units. And so I'm going to make that 8 units here. Well, if that's the diameter, remember our formula starts with the area of the circle, pi r squared, and multiplies it by the height of the cylinder, the 10. So we need to turn our diameter, d being 8 units, into a radius. A radius is half the diameter, starting at the center and going to any edge of the circle. And so each of on each side of our diameter, if I cut my diameter in half from the center out to one of the edges of the circle, is 4 units. And that can be 4 units in that direction, 4 units in that direction, 4 units in that direction. We can be 4 units in any direction because, remember, a circle is equidistant from the center. Every part of the edge is equidistant from the center, meaning the same distance. So the radius is 4 units. All right, what do we do to figure out the volume of the cylinder? We start with pi. We're going to multiply it by the radius twice. That's what our 2 means. It means multiply radius times radius. And then we're going to multiply it by the height. So once I find my radius of 4, I'm going to put that in twice because my radius is being multiplied twice. And of course, you could just put in 4 to the second power. I personally prefer to put 2 4s to remind us that it expands out, because I noticed that a lot of students in my past have taken the radius and multiplied it by 2 by mistake. So I choose to expand it out to emphasize that this to the second power does not mean times 2. It means radius times radius, not radius times 2. And so I put 2 radiuses being multiplied together. Radii? I'm not sure if I said that correctly. So this is our height. That's 10. I will look that up after our video. Our volume is equal to pi multiplied by 4 times 4 times 10. Now I can do my scratch work on the side, or I can use my calculator to do 4 times 4 being 16, and multiplying that by 10 gives me 160. And so it's pi times 160. Now I can remember that this was units, and this was units. So it's 160 pi units to the third power. I can leave my answer in terms of pi, and that is my most exact answer, because remember, pi is an irrational number. So that is actually a correct answer. However, most people say, well, yes, it's 160 pi, so it's about 3 times that. Let's figure out what it is approximately. And so we're going to approximate, meaning we're going to take pi and we're going to multiply it by the 160. Now, I could do that by multiplying by 3.14 and using that approximation of pi and multiplying it out. But because we have the opportunity in our world right now to use very fancy calculators that have a more accurate estimate of pi, you'll notice that if I hit the pi button here, it will give me an even more accurate estimate of pi. So 3.141592654, it does not end here. It just runs out of digits space, memory space. But that pi symbol is a more accurate estimate of the value of pi. So I'm going to use it as I can. And we know it was 160 pi. So 160 times pi gives me approximately 502 and 6,500. So I'm going to say 502.65 approximately would be the value that I'm looking for. And so it's about, what was that, 562 point, and again, I apologize, I forgot what that value was, 0.65, and it is an estimate. That's why we change our symbol. This was equal, this is an estimate, and that's all we do to find the volume of a cylinder. Pi times radius times radius times height. Pi times radius times radius times height, multiply it out, and you're good to go. I hope this was helpful.